In a stunning and highly unusual move, the Pentagon accepted a $130 million donation from an anonymous source during a government shutdown, sending ripples of surprise through the nation's capital and beyond. The sheer size of the donation, combined with the secrecy surrounding the donor, immediately sparked intense speculation and debate. President Trump described the mysterious donor as a close friend and a true patriot, insisting that the money was intended to pay U.S. military salaries as federal funding stalled. He praised the gesture as a bold act of support for American troops, emphasizing the donor's loyalty to the country. This unprecedented act sent shockwaves through Washington, raising urgent questions about military funding, the influence of private wealth on public institutions, and the potential for outside interests to shape government decisions in times of crisis. The Pentagon, with its massive annual budget, has never before relied on private charity for basic obligations like payroll. Traditionally, military salaries are funded solely by Congress, not by private individuals, no matter how well-intentioned. Accepting such a large private sum blurs the line between public responsibility and private generosity, making many officials uneasy. Some worry it sets a dangerous precedent, opening the door to future influence by wealthy donors. The donation arrived as the shutdown entered its third week, with military pay at risk and political blame flying. Families of service members watched anxiously, uncertain if their loved ones would receive their next paycheck. Trump framed the gift as a patriotic response to political gridlock, turning it into a political statement and rallying point for his supporters, while critics accused him of undermining democratic norms. The Pentagon cited its general gift acceptance authority, but using it for payroll is a novel and controversial move. Never before has such authority been used to cover basic government obligations. Lawmakers and legal experts immediately questioned the donor's identity, motives, and the legality of using private money for military pay. Some called for investigations, demanding full transparency. At the heart of the controversy is a fundamental question. Can the Pentagon legally use private funds to pay troops when Congress hasn't authorized the money? The answer could reshape the boundaries between private influence and public duty for years to come. Military pay is supposed to be stable, transparent, and above all, predictable. For generations, service members have relied on a system designed to ensure their financial security, no matter what is happening in the world or in Washington. This system is controlled by Congress, not private citizens or outside interests, so that the process remains accountable to the American people. The Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse, ensuring only lawmakers can fund the armed forces. This separation of powers is a safeguard, preventing any single person or group from wielding undue influence over the military. Each year, Congress passes appropriations bills to allocate money for the Department of Defense, covering salaries and benefits for 1.3 million active duty troops, as well as reservists and support staff. This funding is essential for maintaining morale and readiness. The process is deliberate and thorough, involving hearings, debates, and public oversight. These steps are designed to prevent unchecked control over the military and to ensure transparency at every stage. By keeping the military's funding in the hands of elected officials, the system ensures the military's loyalty is to the Constitution and the nation, not to wealthy individuals, corporations, or special interests. When Congress fails to pass a budget, as during a government shutdown, military pay is threatened. In these moments, emergency laws or temporary measures are sometimes enacted to keep paychecks flowing, but uncertainty can still cause stress for service members and their families. Still, the authority to pay troops must always come from Congress, not from private donations, fundraising campaigns, or outside organizations. This process is the bedrock of civil-military relations in the U.S., reinforcing the principle that the armed forces serve the people, not private interests. The Pentagon's acceptance of private money for payroll upends this fundamental principle, raising serious questions about accountability, loyalty, and the future of military funding in America. The $130 million donation marks a radical break from 2 centuries of military funding through public money. For generations, the U.S. military has relied on taxpayer dollars, carefully allocated by Congress, to pay its personnel and fund its operations. This system was designed to ensure transparency, accountability, and democratic oversight over one of the nation's most powerful institutions. While the Pentagon has accepted gifts before, they've been for things like hospital wings or scholarships, not payroll. These donations have always been supplementary, never substituting for the core responsibilities of government. Paying salaries with private money is unprecedented, and it raises fundamental questions about the boundaries between public and private roles. Using private wealth to fill a gap in basic government functions blurs the line between charity and state responsibility. It's one thing for philanthropy to enhance services, but quite another for it to step in where government funding falls short, especially in matters as vital as military pay. This sets a dangerous precedent. If the Pentagon can accept $130 million for salaries, what stops it from taking more for other operations? Could future shortfalls in defense spending be patched up by wealthy individuals or corporations, potentially shifting priorities away from the public interest? Such reliance could give wealthy donors undue influence over defense policy. The risk is that those with the deepest pockets might gain a say in how the military is run, or what missions are prioritized, undermining the principle of civilian control. The congressional appropriation process exists to prevent this, keeping defense priorities in the hands of elected officials. This process is a safeguard, ensuring that military funding reflects the will of the people, not the interests of a select few. The donation, arriving amid a shutdown, is not just charity, it's a political act, framed by Trump as a way to bypass his opponents. It's a move that highlights the deep divisions in government and the lengths some will go to make a point. Injecting private money into military pay politicizes what should be a nonpartisan issue. The military's role is to serve the nation as a whole, not to become a pawn in political battles or a tool for personal agendas. This risks turning troop pay into a political football and undermines the military's neutrality. When the source of their pay becomes a matter of public debate, it threatens morale and the sense of unity that is essential to the armed forces. The move challenges the unity and nonpartisan nature of the armed forces, raising concerns about the future of military funding and the principles that have long guided America's defense. The Trump administration has cast the donation as a patriotic gesture, with Trump calling the donor a great patriot concerned for the troops. The White House frames it as a citizen stepping up when politicians fail, using the gift to pressure political opponents. Trump blames Democrats for the shutdown, presenting the donation as a direct response to their refusal to fund the government. The administration claims the Pentagon's gift acceptance authority makes the donation legal, though many legal experts disagree. Officials have been vague about the legal reasoning and refuse to reveal the donor's identity. When pressed, the White House, Pentagon, and Treasury deflect questions, fueling speculation. The secrecy undermines the administration's positive narrative and raises more questions than it answers. The lack of transparency has become a central issue in the controversy. The donor's anonymity is one of the most troubling aspects of this affair. In a democracy, transparency is essential, especially in military funding. Without knowing who gave the money, it's impossible to judge their motives or rule out foreign influence. Lawmakers warn that anonymous donations could let foreign powers or wealthy individuals buy influence over U.S. policy. Even if the donor is American, secrecy raises concerns about favoritism, access, and fairness. The administration's refusal to identify the donor only deepens suspicion. If the gift were truly patriotic, why not celebrate the donor publicly? Until the identity is revealed, doubts about the integrity of military funding will persist. The legality of using a private donation for military pay is highly questionable under the Anti-Deficiency Act. This law forbids federal agencies from spending money not appropriated by Congress or accepting private donations to cover shortfalls. The act exists to prevent the executive branch from bypassing Congress's control over government funding. Legal experts argue the Pentagon's gift authority doesn't extend to payroll, which is a core government function. The law was designed to stop presidents from using outside money to keep the government running during funding disputes. Critics say using the donation for payroll is a legal loophole stretched too far. This sets up a constitutional clash between the executive and legislative branches. If the administration proceeds, it could face lawsuits and congressional investigations. The outcome could reshape the rules of government funding for years to come. Despite the headlines, $130 million is a drop in the ocean for the Pentagon's payroll. With 1.3 million active duty troops, the donation amounts to about $100 per service member. The Pentagon spends $6.5 billion every 2 weeks on pay. This gift covers just 2% of a single pay period. It's a symbolic gesture, not a real solution to missed paychecks during a shutdown. The logistics of distributing such a small, one-time payment are unclear, and likely not worth the effort. The donation's limited impact highlights the need for stable, lawful congressional funding. Private philanthropy can't replace the Treasury as the source of military pay. The gift serves more as a political statement than practical support. Ultimately, it distracts from the real issue: political leaders failing to fund the government. The donation has ignited fierce debate in Washington, splitting opinion along partisan lines. Trump supporters hail it as a patriotic solution to gridlock, while Democrats and budget experts see it as a dangerous precedent. Critics warn it undermines Congress's authority, opens the door to corruption, and threatens the military's independence. Many call for investigations into the donor's identity and the legality of the move. Experts point to the Anti-Deficiency Act as a clear barrier to using private money for payroll. They stress that rules exist to ensure accountability and separation of powers. Ignoring these rules, even for a good cause, risks eroding the foundations of American governance. The debate is about more than $130 million. It's about the principles that guide the nation. There's widespread agreement. This situation is unprecedented and deeply troubling. As of October 26, 2025, the Pentagon's $130 million donation remains shrouded in controversy. The donor's identity is still secret, and the legality of using the money for military pay is hotly contested. The government shutdown drags on, with pressure mounting for answers. Lawmakers and the public demand to know who gave the money and why. Without transparency, suspicions of foreign influence or political favoritism persist. Legal experts argue the move violates the Anti-Deficiency Act, setting up a possible constitutional showdown. Congressional investigations are underway, and the outcome could set a major precedent. The donation's true impact is more symbolic than financial, highlighting failures in political leadership. Until the donor is revealed and the legal questions are settled, this story will remain at the center of national debate.